All right, welcome to Module 3. So this first video for Module 3 is going to be about identifying consciousness versus thought, right? So we need to identify the difference between consciousness, awareness, being, and then thought, right? Thoughts themselves are different from consciousness. So the nature of consciousness. This first section is all about consciousness itself and its natural state. So the natural state of consciousness. To preface this, we need to understand what consciousness is, right? So think you are a being, you are a human being, correct? I'd hope so. You are a human being, but what exactly are you? Because we have identified that you are not the animal, the human animal, right? You are not the human body. You are not the human brain, no, the lower parts nor the higher parts of the human brain. We are not the spirit. We are made of spirit, but we are not the spirit, right? The spirit is more of an avatar for this specific realm. And around that avatar forms a mind and a physical body, right? So then what are we? We are the consciousness that directs these three elements, right? We are the consciousness that guides these three elements, right? That directs where these three elements go, what these three elements do, who these three elements are, right? And the three elements are what I just mentioned: mind, body, and spirit. So if you would like to think of it this way, we are the soul, right? But the soul itself is more comparable to God, right? So within our physical body, our physical vessel, the access to our power, our ability as gods, as a soul, is our consciousness, is based on our level of consciousness and how much of it we have, right? So the only real connection to our true power as souls, as divine beings, whatever, is our consciousness, right? Which doesn't seem too magical or mystical, right? Because it's not. It really isn't. It's not meant to be that way, right? We're not meant to have access to the fullness of our power here, right? We're meant to have access to one thing, and that is our awareness and our ability to comprehend both ourselves and the world around us. And this is what allows us to be able to actually change, transform, refine the self, the mind, body, and spirit, refine the self into a perfect vessel, right? A perfect vessel being a vessel that can fully transmit the highest level of our power, right? And what does this mean? This means that we are seeking to create a vessel that is capable of expressing and actually physically actualizing upon our highest level of being, right? Our soul's actual being, right? Our soul's, the reflection rather of our soul's self, of our soul's being, of our soul's energy, spirit, and overall consciousness, right? So this high level of consciousness that we don't quite have access to yet, it is trying to express itself on the highest possible level, in the clearest possible way. And so our mission as the consciousness within this human vessel is to, as I said before, refine that human vessel into the perfect vessel, right? The perfect being. So that aside, we understand what consciousness is and why it is so important. Consciousness itself, the nature of consciousness, is our awareness, is our presence, is our being, right? Consciousness itself is our ability to see, perceive, and understand ourselves and the world around us, right? So quickly, I can run you through an exercise that will help you to actually visualize this, right? Or to understand this on a deeper level. If you close your eyes really quick and just breathe for a second, you will notice two different forces, right? One is the mind. The mind is trying to basically pull you in all sorts of different directions, right? And in this exact moment, with your eyes closed, while you are focusing on your breath, it is specifically trying to pull you away from the breath, Why? Because once it does this, then it can pull you back into chaos. By taking your attention away from this present moment, then it has the opportunity to then place thoughts that will pull you away from this moment altogether, right? So it pulls you out of the moment by pulling you out of the breath first, because we are currently focusing on it, currently meditating on it. So it pulls you away from this first, and then once it has done that, then it will also try to pull you in which direction it chooses, right? So identify the mind, and it's almost a force of trying to force you away, while the consciousness is the opposite. The consciousness is calmly directed wherever it's meant to go, wherever it's told to go, right? So just quickly focus. And now you can identify which part is the consciousness and which part is the mind. And by doing so, you can then use the consciousness almost like a horse rider, right? When they are directing their horse, you do that with your mind. You direct the mind onto the breath with the consciousness. Now the consciousness, the flow of consciousness, directs and pushes both without force, but naturally towards whatever you're focusing on. In this moment, it's the breath. Okay, now you can open your eyes. So we're going to continue. But now that you have identified your thoughts and what exactly is your thoughts, right? Now you can actually go in and identify, consciousness. Now you can go identify thoughts. So you have identified your consciousness. Now you can go and begin to identify your thoughts as well. So identifying thought is pretty simple after that exercise, right? Thought is just the part of your mind that is constantly running, right? Thought is the loops that constantly play in your head. Thought is the perception of future and past, right? So think of anxiety about the future. This is all thought. This is all in the mind. None of this is real, right? The mind is creating these scenarios in order to protect you from a certain type of pain, whatever that may be. Social anxiety, meaning the pain of embarrassment, most likely, right? In most cases, you're avoiding the pain of embarrassment here. So what can we do about it? Well, we can enter and we can stay within the state of being. So once you have identified the difference between thought and consciousness, we can enter and we can start to maintain the state of being, right? So the state of being is basically when we are fully aware, fully present, fully within our consciousness, our spirit, and our soul, and fully observing and fully perceiving this reality as it is, right? And so an easy way for you to enter this state is for you to observe your thoughts, observe your mind, right? From your consciousness, observe the thoughts that are going on in your mind, right? And then, once you have done that and you've entered the state of being, you become accustomed to what it feels like and what it is like, and then you can remain in this state, right? You can maintain this state after you have become aware of what it feels like and you have started to comprehend what it is, right? The state. And you've started to basically fully understand how to get here, what it feels like, and what can be done within this state. And by doing so, you basically make it a skill, right? You turn it into a skill that you have, right? Entering this state is just a skill that you have that you can constantly tap into when needed, right? And then so another thing we can do from this state is actually pull consciousness back out of our thoughts, right? So all of these very intense, heavy, and strong thoughts that we have, right? These powerful thoughts that we have that are constantly pulling at us, what we can do is we can pull back, right? By observing and fully comprehending these thoughts from this state of being, from the state of consciousness, we can pull the energy, which is just more consciousness that's being trapped by the ego. We pull this energy and we pull this consciousness right back out of the thoughts, right? And by pulling them out of the thoughts and back into more consciousness for us, more awareness for us, we create a stronger sense of being, a stronger state of presence, and a stronger level of consciousness and awareness. right? And this is a very powerful state to be able to have, and also a very powerful skill to utilize on a constant basis, right? Because the more consciousness we have, the more easily we can manifest the things that we seek to manifest, right? By concentrating that consciousness into a specific manifestation, we're able to create it a lot easier and on a much deeper level, rather. So that's the end of this first video, identifying consciousness versus thought. I will see you guys in the next one for this module piece. All right, so welcome to video 2 of module 3. So this video is all about the flow of energy. So the first step, the first thing to talk about is actually feeling into this flow of energy, because we cannot begin to direct this flow. We cannot begin to control this flow of energy until we have actually begun to perceive it, to feel it, right? So the first step, right, the first thing that you could do in order to begin to feel this flow is meditation, consistent meditation for a long period of time. And by a long period of time, I mean for a few months at least, every single day for a few months. And by a few months, I mean about 6. So 6 to 12 months, and you should begin to start being able to feel into these subtle bodies if you are truly consistent and you are actually progressing in your meditation practice. Be sure to DM me, or you can just start with the one-on-one coaching if you would like. But you can work with me on meditation practices if you'd like to advance your practice. But for now, we simply just need the practice of meditation consistently, because consistency naturally breeds progress anyways. So even if you are interested in my coaching, just doing it consistently for a long period of time, you should progress naturally. And if you just focus on making this progress continue and basically progress specifically into an area where you are able to feel and able to perceive into the subtle bodies. And again, this is something I can teach you and educate you on more in my one-on-one coaching if you would like to learn more about the subtle bodies. But the most important thing you need to know is just that the subtle bodies are the bodies within the physical body. And as we start to meditate more, we have more consciousness and therefore more access to them. And so we can begin to move our consciousness and our energy inward. And then from there, we will be able to start to feel into this energy field that we have within our energy body specifically. So the next step, once you have actually started to perceive and feel into this energy body, and like I said, the only thing you really need for this is consistent meditation. Another practice that you could use and that you could add in is pranayama. So pranayama will start to transmute your sexual energy as well as circulate that same energy. And in doing so, practice of pranayama actually allows you to not only feel and perceive the subtle bodies more, and specifically your energy body, it will also allow you to begin to control the flow of energy and to be able to direct this flow very easily and very effortlessly. So pranayama is another good practice, but the combination of pranayama and meditation will serve you just fine, right? So after you have done these two things for at least 6 months, you'll be able to start to feel into this flow of energy. Then what we can do is actually learn to consciously direct it. So what would be the purpose of directing this flow of energy, right? What would we actually benefit from doing so? So when we learn to control and then direct the flow of energy, we can actually begin to direct this energy into our endeavors, right? So for me right now, it's mostly business. I'm an athlete as well, but I'm mostly focused on business right now and making money. So what I do is I direct my energy, the flow of my energy, into my business, into my work. And this allows me to not only get more done, but it allows me to make more of an impact with all of the work that I actually do, right? So we want to figure out what our goal is first. And then we want to basically take this newfound skill of perceiving subtle energy, and we need to feel into it, feel into the disharmony between our energy and the energy of what we want to achieve. And then we basically realign it by directing this energy, allowing it to flow into the things that will refine us into the person that we're looking to become. So what does this actually mean? By directing the energy somewhere where it will be transmuted, that will also by default transform you, right? And what do I mean by these things that can transmute energy, right? So for example, if your goal is to become a healthier person, right? If your goal is to become more fit, more in shape, all of these things, right? What your actual goal should be is to go ahead and actually go to the gym, right? So I paused because I want to explain this a little bit deeper, but basically the gym is a place where we go and we work and we put in energy, but when the energy comes back to us, it comes back to us different. It comes back to us slightly changed, right? And as we do this over a long period of time, we continuously refine our energy. We refine who we are into a being or a person who is better. Simply put, just better. This can be in an extreme way. This can be in a very subtle way. We're slightly better than we were before, right? So when we direct this energy specifically into the very thing that refines us, it turns us into a being or a person capable of achieving what we are looking to achieve, right? So we set the goal, and then we direct the flow of our energy into the things that will transmute it, and therefore transmute us into the type of person and into the type of energy that we need to be and to have in order to align with our specific goal. So learning to actually direct this flow of energy is based on a focus on a goal first, having focus onto a goal, being focused on a goal, but then also directing our energy towards this goal, and specifically towards the tasks within that goal that will allow it to be transformed the most. So if you look at the big needle movers, or basically the highest leverage tasks that you can do to achieve your specific goal, these tasks are what we're going to want to focus on. By directing the flow of our energy as much as possible into these tasks, that is what will make us the most progress in our business, right? So the power of this energy, right? The power of controlling the flow of your energy is the creation of your dream reality, right? Is the actual experience of your dream reality. So you will be able to experience your ideal reality based on how well you can direct the flow of energy through your consciousness, right? So if you are looking to make 10K online, you need to be focusing your energy into the highest leverage task, right? For me, I'll give you my example. I'm looking to make 10K a month online through a school community, well, multiple school communities, low to high ticket, and then also making YouTube videos in order to bring traffic into that community, right? So the way that I would make the most progress, the task that would transform me the most and transmute me the most, my energy the most, and actually begin to create that manifestation outwardly, right? The task, the highest leverage task, is to make content, is to sit here and record myself, or to write docs, posts, PDFs, right? Ebooks, guides, templates, and then obviously courses and YouTube content and videos and stuff, right? So my highest leverage task is actually just sitting here and making this content, right? Because this task will not only transform me the most and allow me to learn what needs to be learned and become the type of person I need to be in order to manifest that reality, right? Having that 10K a month income, but also it allows me to make the most progress in my business, right? It changes me. It allows me to manifest through directing my energy into the right place. And then it also is the very task that will bring me the most progress in my business, right? So bringing the two together by taking my awareness of my energy and by directing that flow of it into this course, for example, right? This is the thing that will make me the most progress. This is the thing that will transform me the most. So that is all I have for this video. I'll see you guys in video 3 for this module. Peace. All right, so welcome to video 3 of module 3. So this video is all about directing consciousness to direct your energy. So in the last video, I talked about the flow of energy, how you can begin to perceive and then control it, and then what the purpose of this would really be, why it's so important to learn to do this. And then in this video, I'm going to talk more about the how behind this. So I'm sure you gathered, and if not, I'm going to explain it. I'm sure you gathered in the last video that in order to learn to direct the flow of energy, we first need to learn how to direct our consciousness, right? Because in the very beginning of the video, I told you in order to learn how to perceive even this energy, and perceiving this energy comes first before directing it. In the last video, I explained how beginning to perceive this energy is actually based upon your ability to become aware within, right? So to bring your awareness within is how you actually begin to perceive this energy, right? So that goes to show that consciousness itself is the most important thing, right? Because consciousness itself is how we will actually begin to learn how to direct our energy into whatever endeavor we choose, whatever goal that we have, right? So there's a quote that I really like that goes, where awareness goes, energy flows. So where awareness goes, where consciousness goes, energy flows, energy follows, right? So in order to be able to learn how to control our energy and direct our energy, we first need to learn how to control and direct our consciousness. So that's why in the last video, when I was explaining the techniques, other than pranayama, which I mentioned at the very end of that part of the video, I really only talked about meditation, because meditation is the practice of learning how to direct and control the flow of consciousness, right? So it's literally the practice of learning how to control consciousness and direct its flow into certain things, right? So once we learn to basically control our awareness, control our consciousness, direct our consciousness, we can then learn to direct our energy, right? So we need to basically use the conscious power in order to direct our energy, right? And how do we do this? Well, when we take our attention, which is our awareness, right? Right now, your attention is probably on this video, or it could also be on TikTok while you're scrolling away with the video in the background, or it could be on your next meal for the day, so on and so forth, right? Or it could be on notes, right? They don't all have to be bad, right? Your attention can be on good things, or it can be on slightly negative / distracting things that are within the present moment, right? For you watching this video, if you're watching this video, you should have 100% focus on the video. Maybe like 50-50 focus on the video and focus on notes, right? Something along those lines. But aside from those two things, because obviously they go into the same thing and they're both within the present moment, other than those two things, your attention will be taken by distraction. What we need to learn to do is minimize and reduce distraction, right? Basically remove all distractions and focus right onto the present moment, right? We need to focus our attention right here, right now, right? So this is the first stage, is learning presence, right? And this is why meditation is so important. You basically need to be practicing meditation for any of these skills, right? So once we have been practicing meditation and we learn to direct the flow of consciousness, and we learn to direct our consciousness into specific things and remove it from things that are distracting, right? Removing it from thoughts, for example. Now we can begin to actually do this process, right? And this process is reality creation. It's manifestation, right? Because that's all we're doing with our energy. We're transmuting it in order to create something within reality, right? Because that's what we are as human beings. We are creative beings. We are here in order to create and manifest our highest vision outwardly, right? So Reality creation is the result of this process. So when we actually begin to control the flow of our consciousness, and then we direct that consciousness into a specific thing. Let's say it's my goal of 10K a month, or it's somebody else's goal of becoming a professional athlete, or somebody else's goal of 100K a month, or somebody else's goal of getting a job even, or getting their license, right? Whatever the goal may be. If we take our consciousness, right, we direct it straight into that goal, right? We bring our awareness into that goal, and we push through the resistance, push through the barrier. And the way we do this is by concentrating consciousness. We push through the barrier. We can actually begin to open the doors up to our next stage, our new reality, the existence we're trying to achieve and live within, right? So you basically get to begin to create your reality now that you have control of your consciousness. And by controlling consciousness, directing it into your work, for example, for me, directing it into these videos, and then your energy follows, and your energy then gets directed and flows straight into your work, for me, again, the videos. Then you begin to actually create, manifest the result of what you're looking for. And then so the last step is actually, or the last thing that I have on the page is how to move your consciousness. And the reason I corrected myself is because it's not really the last step. It's the first step. You're not going to do any of what I just talked about until you've learned how. But basically, just when you're in meditation, your focus is on the breath. Your attention is on the breath. And you are directing your conscious thoughts and your attention into the breath, right? Now, we basically just practice doing the same thing right here, right now, within the work that we're doing. For you, it's watching and learning the video. For me, it's making the video. And I'll be honest, I have been struggling to push through these videos today. I've only eaten a banana. I'm just tired, right? The first day I've gotten a full night's sleep, and for some reason it threw me off. But first time getting a full night's sleep in a while, so I'm slightly sleep deprived. Like I said, I ate a banana today, and that's about it. But I ate a meal late last night, which means my stomach is like weirdly more hungry now because I ate later last night, right? These aren't excuses. These are just all of the things that are going on right now outside of me recording this video. But what I'm doing is I'm meditating back onto the task. Every time something random pulls me away, I meditate back onto the task. I meditate back onto creating the content, right? Because this is my work. This is the thing that I'm trying to use as my vehicle in order to manifest my current goal, right? So basically what I'm explaining is that when we're doing meditation and we're constantly bringing our attention back, we need to learn to do the same thing with our goals and our task. And in the process, also directing more and more and more consciousness towards the task as possible, right? As much as humanly possible, we focus onto this task. And obviously you can't do that forever, but you can continuously get better and better at focusing deeper on the task, focusing more on the task, and directing more consciousness, right? Because the more concentrated our consciousness becomes, the more easily we can penetrate through the barriers of resistance and then actually get to the other side where we see our manifestation come in and actually become real. So that is the end of this one. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you in video 4. Peace. All right, welcome to the last video of Module 3. So this one's kind of just wrapping everything up into basically just clear techniques, how to use everything, right? So this video is all about deep focus and creation. So let's get into it. The art of creation. So the art of creation. We as human beings are art, right? We are a creation by whatever higher power you believe in, whether it's God, whether it's Allah, whether it's your higher self, whatever, right? It doesn't matter. The higher power or the higher powers, because personally I believe that there are multiple gods, not just one, but we don't have to get into that now. Basically, the powers that be, or the power that is, they created us. They made us. We are an art piece of theirs, right? And so we as human beings are actually perfect creations, right? We are perfect vessels. If you study the human mind, it is a very, very, very complex organism, but also a very, very incredible one at that, right? And an insane level of detail has gone into the creation of this human vessel, right? And so naturally, by default, as reflections of this higher being, we are also creative beings, right? We are created by a creative being to be creative beings, right? You could imagine it like this. God created us in order for us to express his gifts into this world, right? And of course, our personal expression of his gifts are mixed and merged and intertwined with our own, right? We have our own gifts that we're here to give as well. And so these gifts become intertwined with God's. These gifts that I mention are our creative abilities, right? Our act of creation, creating art, right? Working to build or make something that will benefit others, right? Or that will be considered and perceived as beautiful to others, right? For example, I am creatively making these videos, right? I don't have I have somewhat of a script, but I don't have like a script that I'm reading word for word off of, right? I don't have I do, but I don't use them. I don't have collections of knowledge that I'm just reading through to give you guys the information that I got somewhere else, right? I'm sitting here creatively forming the words together in a way that is both my own way of speaking and presenting information, and also structured and clear information, right? So I structure the information so that I can give it to you guys clearly, but really I'm sitting here just actively speaking on it and basically creating it as I go, right? I'm building the script as I go, right? And so this right here is an act of creation for me. Even if I was to be reading off of an actual script, that's word for word, making the script itself is a creative act as well. Sitting here making the video is a creative act. This video would not exist without my energy being put forth, right? Without my energy being put into it somehow. And so because I'm putting my energy into the video, now I'm actually able to make, create, manifest a YouTube channel and a course, a school community with a course, right? Right now I'm making a course, so discard the YouTube part. But yeah, so basically this video makes up the course that is my community, right? And the community is another creation of mine. It's something that I'm creating, that I'm building, right? And so we as humans, we naturally want to create things. We naturally want to build things, right? We naturally want to see things manifest into reality, right? We want to take these thoughts to these thoughts we have, these desires we have, these ambitions we have, and we want to manifest them outwardly. So the way we do this is through the act of creation, the creative act, through training, through practice, through going into games if you're an athlete, right? Through sitting here and recording, through learning, through writing out the scripts, right? Through refining, for example, my thumbnails, for example, my titles, right? Basically just refining my product, my creation, into something that is both beautiful and beneficial to humanity, right? My real goal is to benefit humanity, but at the same time, I would also like to make this a very beautiful gift to humanity, a very appealing gift to humanity, right? I don't want to sit here and be, obviously, I will be polarizing if I have to be, because my opinions are probably very polarized. But at the same time, I don't want to sit here and just trigger everybody and piss everybody off and get attention that way, right? I want to create something that benefits people, but is also very appealing to people as well, right? Because to be honest, most of the information that will benefit humanity the most will also trigger humanity the most, right? So my creative act, my creative gift is to package all of that information in a way that people could actually absorb, right? And so that is me creating something of value. That is me actually actively creating my version of art, right? This is my art form. Me doing a trick on a snowboard that I've been working on for years. That is an art form of mine, right? And so these art forms, these creations that we have, these are our biggest passions. These are our actual biggest pursuits. These are the most important things that we have. But we as humans neglect the things that we're actually creating the most, right? We as humans neglect the most valuable parts of our lives the most. Why? Because it takes the most energy and effort to do these things. And our brains are designed to basically just conserve energy, conserve as much possible energy, right? And so this is not good for us as human beings, because the more we hold on to energy, the more energy we actually lose. The more we fully express our energy, the more energy is reflected back to us. If you look into the law of attraction and how the universe operates, you can basically see in all cases that those who give the most receive the most. Those who take the most lose the most, right? And so if you're just holding on to it, you're more likely to actually lose it than anything else. So you want to be actually directing this energy into the very endeavor that will be your creation, right? The thing that you want to create. I know a couple people in here. So I know there's a fitness coach in here. There's also a writer in here, someone who wrote a book, right? So these people, their creative act is, for example, the fitness coach. Her creative act would be to go and take her knowledge about fitness and actually package it in a way, either write a book, make a course, or directly talk to somebody, directly coach somebody one-on-one, right, on that information. Her creation, her art form, is actually just basically changing the other person's viewpoints and opening the other person's mind up in such a way that they now have access to a different reality, right? They have access to something new. The person who wrote a book, his creative act is writing itself, right? So writing the book is the creative act, right? The creation is somebody reading that book, right? Is somebody taking that book, that physical book that has now been created and manifested into reality, right? They take that physical book and now they are opened up to new realities. Somebody watches my content. My creation is the content, but my art form is the content, but the actual creation, the outcome of that content is that somebody watches it and is informed about something that then opens them up to a new possible reality, right? And so we're making these things, we're creating these things, bringing these things into reality that would not be here without us. And we are bringing them into reality so that somebody else could benefit off of those things, right? So that we could open somebody else up to a new possibility, a new reality, right? One that we have accessed and now we have the keys to. And we provide those keys through creation, through packaging our knowledge in such a way that somebody else could take it in. Or you could look at things like the Eiffel Tower, things like paintings and artwork that way, right? Again, it's just taking information and then packaging it in a way that we can manifest it externally, right? We are manifesting these gifts or these creations, these artwork pieces externally. We're taking what is the contents of our mind and we are manifesting it outward. So the next thing I want to talk about is deep states of focus. So I'm kind of bouncing around here, but trust me, it all comes together. So deep states of focus are how you will actually create your manifestation, right? I couldn't make this video if I wasn't focused. I'll be honest with you. If I was scattered, I wouldn't be here at all. Because if I was scattered and I wasn't clear on what I was going to be doing right now, I wouldn't be able to be here, because this takes too much of my energy. This takes too much effort for me. Like, I have to put too much into doing this in order to just do it, right? I have to be very, very clear on the fact that I'm doing this in order to be able to sit here and actively work on this specific video, and any videos for that matter, really, right? It doesn't matter what the video is, any videos, it would take me a lot of effort to sit here and put in the work if I wasn't clear on it. But because I'm clear on it, because I'm focused, right, it makes it easy for me to maintain what I'm trying to do here. So by maintaining and creating a deep state of focus where I am dialed in and I am locked in on the work that I'm doing, this allows me to create the video a lot easier, and that creation is what will allow me to actually reach my manifestation or my goal, right? So my goal of 10K a month through school and coaching, my ability to get there is based on my ability to focus. So because I can maintain deep focus here working, I will be able to actually reach that goal. But every time I lose focus, I delay the goal. Every time I lose concentration, I delay the goal, right? And so you need to basically focus your energy and your consciousness directly into the goal that you are actually working on and trying to achieve. So another thing I'm going to talk about is taking this. So deep focus, the importance of deep focus, actually making more progress with it. So the way we make the most progress is by focusing directly on the thing that will get us to the goal, right? So I'll be going over this in my routine training calls. So you can check out the Zoom calls if the program is already over. You can also check out the course, or you can go and actually schedule the calls into your calendar if we're still running the program. But my routine mastery program, I am talking about how you need to set a goal, and then you need to break that down into an objective for achieving the goal. So I did this yesterday with one of my one-on-one clients, and what we did was I wrote it right down with her. So I went and I did my 10K a month through coaching at school. I did 10K subs on YouTube, and I did to learn backflips, rodeo flips, and corks on my trampoline board, right, to prepare for this snowboarding season. So for the 10K a month online, I wrote down one task, one high leverage task, one objective that will allow me to make the most progress, right? And so that one objective was to make content, engage the community, and take calls, which it's three things, but they're all one thing really. So we'll just say I wrote three things. It was making content, recording content, making PDFs, templates, Notion templates and stuff, engaging the community, which is just another type of content, and then taking calls, which is again another type of content. This is why I said one, because they all relate. But basically just creating the content for this, the course, taking calls and giving out the content live, and also writing into the community, post in the community, that is also another form of the content, right? Basically just putting the content out there. This task, this thing, this objective is the only thing that I have to focus on in order to achieve my goal, right? So what I need to do and what I should do is just dial in, lock in, and focus in on specifically this goal that I have, right? Specifically this objective, right? Not even the goal itself, but the objective, right? And just pursue that objective and focus deeply on that objective. And by focusing 100% on that objective, right? By giving all of your attention to that objective, you will allow yourself to make the most progress, because you will constantly be moving forward in the fullest possible way, right? So the more directly you are moving forward, the faster you will be able to manifest, right? And so the way to directly move forward towards your goal is to focus on specifically the high leverage task, the highest leverage task for achieving your goal, right? So the next thing is using attention and the flow of energy for big manifestations. So I briefly talked about this in the last two videos of this module, but I'll just quickly go over it again. So basically, when you have control of your attention, which you build through meditation, when you have full control of your attention, then you can begin to direct the flow of consciousness and direct the flow of energy into the specific task and the specific goal that you have. And by doing so, you will allow your energy to flow directly into and through this task, which will transform and transmute it, allowing you to align with a higher timeline. And then that alignment with a higher timeline will allow you to move into that timeline. And within that timeline, you will be able to attract to you the specific manifestation or goal that you had. So that's just a brief explanation of how manifestations work. And then basically, when we have a very big manifestation, when we have something that's huge, like for me, my 10K a month is somewhat of a big manifestation, right? So in order to do this, we basically concentrate our consciousness into that specific task. So the easiest way to do this and the best way to do this is to write it down somewhere and have it where you can see it constantly, right? Be able to wake up and see it. Sit down at your desk, you see it, right? You get up to go to the bathroom, you see it. right? You want to basically post it everywhere so you have constant reminders, and this will allow you to put the most of your energy, effort, and consciousness and awareness into the specific goal. And then by doing so, you'll be able to manifest and create it a lot faster. But I will warn you, if you aren't acting on this goal, you won't get there. Thinking about the goal is not putting your consciousness onto the goal, right? Thinking about the goal is thinking about the goal. What we need is awareness on the task, and we gain the most awareness and we concentrate the most consciousness by actually doing the thing, by acting upon it. So every time I say concentrating consciousness, I really mean aligning your actions to the goal. But that is all for this video and therefore this module. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you in module 4. Peace.